What is going on, guys? My name is Kaz, and thank you for watching this quick review or guide of Gangplank. Now, this guide is going to be split into three main parts. There's going to be information, first part. Second part is sort of the skills and how to use them, and the third part is build order, and just general tips for Gangplank. So let's go into the first part, the information. Gangplank is a pirate-based theme or pirate-themed champion in League of Legends. He is an AD carry and plays very well in bottom lane, but he's also quite strong at ganking because he has quite a lot of abilities that can support players. For example, his ultimate can be cast anywhere, and he has a skill that allows a passive speed increase. This helps with chasing down enemies. Gangplank is best built with attack damage, and he can hit very strong if he is built correctly. I'll show you the build later. And basically, they are the basics of Gangplank. Play him in bottom lane mainly, and we'll skip on to the next section, the skills, and we'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, now into Gangplank's skills. His passive is called Grog Soaked Blade. Gangplank's basic attack and parlay apply a poison that deals magic damage each second and slows movement speed. Lasts for 3 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. This is a very useful skill in team fights or just chasing someone, because if you manage to get a hit on, it deals a slow, so they slow down, which means that you can get there faster. And it stacks up to 3 times, so 3 slows, or 3 times the slow. And it's just quite a nice sort of passive to have, as it stacks 3 times and it can apply on-hit effects. So yeah. Next we have Parlay, which is Gangplank's Q. Gangplank takes aim and shoots an enemy unit with his pistol. If Parlay deals a killing blow, he gains extra gold and half the mana cost is refunded. This is a very useful skill. It is probably the first or second most useful skill, I'm not really sure, because I like Raise Morale, which is his W, but we'll get onto that later, or his E. But anyway, this is good for farming minions, because if you kill the minion, you get extra gold and half the mana cost is refunded. So yeah, that is nice for sort of farming. Additionally, it does quite a bit of damage, but you don't want to level it up too much because the mana gets pretty intensive. It starts at 50, but then it goes up to 70 at max level, and it doesn't really add a lot of physical damage, so you're better off maxing out a different skill first, for example the E. But anyway, very useful, hard hitting, can do good critical damage, amazing sort of damage if you get 2 in a row, and its cooldown is quite low. And you get extra gold, so who's going to complain? Anyway, on to the W, remove scurvy. Gangplank consumes a large quantity of citrus fruit, which clears any crowd control effects on him and heals him. So yeah, this is basically when Gangplank eats a lot of oranges and makes a weird noise. This is quite a useful skill because obviously it heals you, and at level 1 it heals 80, but at level 5 it heals 360 health minimum, so very good. But also, probably the best part of it, it kind of debuffs you of any, or it kind of it cleanses you of any on-hit sort of effects. So for example, if Ashe did an Ashe arrow and you were stunned, if you ate the remove scurvy, then the stun would disappear and you could move. So it removes everything, removes fire, ice, slows, anything. Very useful to have on cooldown after you've eaten it. Cooldown is kind of long, but a very useful skill. Onto the E, Raise Morale. Gangplank fires a shot in the air, increasing nearby allied champions' attack damage and movement speed. It also has a passive. Gangplank gains 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 attack damage, and 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7% movement speed. This is probably the most useful skill that Gangplank has, and it's very sort of based towards you on the passive side, but also onto enemy champions and your champions. For example, obviously you get the attack damage and movement speed passively, but on active you disable your passive boost but increase the attack damage and movement speed. Also, it has a huge circle, so you can hit easily your whole team with increased movement speed. This is obviously useful solo for chasing down someone, but for a whole team, if your team is like pushing, you want to get there fast, use it on the team and you'll increase their movement speed by up to 20%. Up to 10%, but yours is up to 20%. But it's also useful for running away. But very useful skill, experiment in different ways, awesome skill. And finally, the ultimate called Cannon Barrage, or Barrage, I don't care. Gangplank signals his ship to fire upon an area for 6 seconds, slowing enemies and dealing random damage in that area. So yeah, I think it's actually 7 seconds, but it can be cast. There's like a couple really good things with this. It can be cast anywhere on the map, so it's not sort of like, you know, restricted by range. Oh, yawn, accidental. It can be used offensively. For example, if you're pushing and you want to slow people down and get to them, you can use raise morale to speed up, use the cannon barrage to slow them down, and you can get there really easily. Also use your Q to apply some slow again, and you'll get there to them really quickly. But it can also be used defensively to create sort of like a barrier between you and the enemies. And if they're on a tower, you just put it there, they'll stop attacking the tower. And it also does a lot of damage, and it scales with magic damage, so if you want to build AD just for the ultimate, that'd be okay. Anyway, we're going to go on to the build now, and you'll see what items you need to buy playing as Gangplank. For a build for Gangplank, I just follow a very simple AD carry build, but it's got a little bit of a tweak. So you want to start off with boots and 3 health potions, very simple starting, very obvious starting. And next you want to build into a Varus blade for that extra critical strike chance. That will do a lot of damage with Gangplank. Next you want to get Ionian boots with lucidity, get a longsword, very cheap to buy, and you want to build a Mamune for 20 attack damage, 250 mana, 7 mana regen. Also, you're going to use a lot of mana with Gangplank, so getting the mana regen is definitely useful. You want Yumu's Ghostblade, Phage because of the damage and the health. Next you want to build into a Frozen Mallet for extra 700 health. It will do a lot of, or help a lot in your team fights, and also 30 attack damage. You want to cap off the attack damage with a BF sword, building into Infinity Edge, and just for laughs, throw in a Black Cleaver for an extra 55 attack damage. And if you've got any more spots, fill it with whatever, but that should be sufficient for the build. Alright, we'll move on to tips, see what tips I have for you. Tips for Gangplank are sort of very basic, you would have probably thought of them already, but you want to go for criticals for sure. Build any item that will give you critical, that's why you should follow the build, because it will give you a good crit chance. Additionally, don't rely on parlay, it won't crit that much if you haven't got loads of critical stuff. Use it whenever you can, even in a 1v1, because it does do a lot of damage, but you won't crit all the time. You'll crit from time to time, but when you do crit, you'll crit really big. So if you can build an item that will give you crits, obviously that will really help you out. Other stuff is like using your ultimate in to help other teammates. Don't be selfish with it. It will cool down. You will use it again. So don't use it just for you. Use it for fleeing teammates or advancing teammates. It can be used even when you're not around that area. It could have just spawned and they're pushing in the base. That's my Facebook. Sorry. And that'll be okay. You can use it. Other things are you want to get the passive with parlay. You want to get the slows. You want to use your speed boost and your ultimate. If you just chain them all together, it's very good for you, and it's very good for your teammates. But there are some basic tips, and let me know how you get on playing him. Leave it in the comments. Do you like Gangplank or do you not? And did you like this review or did you not? If you did like this review, then leave a like, and if you're awesome, subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video, guys.